Welcome to Commanders Daily, everybody. It's your one-stop shop for everything going on with the Burgundy and Gold. I'm Bob Matthews. Hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss a day of coverage. Commanders go down to Atlanta, and they lose by a score of 34-27. A game they really weren't ever in, to be honest. I mean, it was always, Atlanta took the lead in the first quarter with a field goal, stretched it to 10-0, and it never really got close enough where you said, hey, the Commanders have a chance to pull this one out. I think they were hoping to get away, to scratch out one more win with Marcus Mariota, quarterback, but just too many injuries, which, we'll go over here in a second, to make it happen. As for the stats from the game, Mariota was what you would expect from a backup. Very competent, but nothing special. 16-27, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, a rating of 84.8. He had some nice moments. He had that really nice touchdown pass to Deebo Samuel in the fourth quarter. That was on fourth down, just threw a dart to him in the end zone. I like the way Chris Rodriguez and Bill Merritt ran, and hey, Commanders racked up 147 yards on the ground. So they've got a formula here that can make them successful. They've just got to be able to stick with it. But it shows you why Mariota is a backup and why hopefully Jaden is healthy enough to play next week in LA, which we all think he is. I think they just really, really wanted him to get one extra week of rest and thought, hey, maybe we can go down to Atlanta. Maybe we can have enough good things go right that we can, scratch out another win. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. And one of the reasons it didn't happen is as much as Mariota knows the offense, there's too many injuries on that offense, specifically Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown being out of there. Without them in the lineup, it just, I think that the depth was decent. Luke McCaffrey caught a touchdown pass, and Deebo Samuel did what he's supposed to do and be that go-to guy. But they spread it around, and it just 156 yards through the air just isn't going to cut it. Mariota's just not a dynamic enough player to, flip the script and make this offense as potent as it had to be. Now, again, despite that fact, they still put up 27 points. I mean, 27 points are 27 points, but they do need Daniels back in that offense. Hopefully he comes back against the Chargers. I think that he will. And hey, L.A. Got shut down by the Giants today, 21-18. So, on any given Sunday, it's a cliche, but it's a week-to-week league. So as bad as they looked in spots today, everything could change next week out in L.A. Speaking of which, there are some things they need to clean up on the defense. I think it looked like Atlanta figured out a way to move the ball on this defense, primarily with tight ends and big wide receivers going over the middle. If you can get Bobby Wagner into coverage, you can have some success, and that's what the Falcons did, especially with Kyle Pitts, who grabbed 5 balls for 70 yards and a touchdown, and Drake London, their big possession receiver, who torched him with 8 receptions for 110 yards. Now, he had a lot of success against Marshawn Lattimore. That's another concern. I'm going to be interested to see the PFF stats there and see what went on there and see how Lattimore grades out. But so aside from the intermediate passing game, which they're going to have to find a way to contain that, especially with Mario Hampton, San Diego's rookie running back, on tap next week, they've got to figure out a way to shore up that run defense. They spent a lot of money on it in the offseason, and yet Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier ran for 126 yards between the two of them. That just can't happen next week. It just can't. It was especially telling down the stretch. The Falcons kept the ball, I think, 9 more minutes than Washington did. Yeah, 34-25 in time of possession. And when the Commanders did have a theoretical chance there, they were down 7 after kicking that field goal late. Defense couldn't get off the field with a stop, and Atlanta was able to run the clock out. I don't know if Joe Witt has to simplify the defensive scheme or what. It looks like guys are out there reacting and thinking instead of just going and playing. Dan Quinn has always said he wants this team to, arrive violently and play fast. You can't play fast if you're thinking about where you're supposed to go. Simplify the defense, simplify the coverages, and just, if somebody gets beat one-on-one, so be it. But don't let it be from lack of communication or a miscommunication. So where are we now? Well, if we can all do the math. Commanders 2-2 as we leave September. Not great, not bad. It's a hell of a lot better than being 1-3. It's not as good as being 3-1, but it is a realistic spot for this team to be in right now. If you had looked back on it a month ago, you would have said, "Yeah, I think 2-2 is definitely a spot they could find themselves in after the first 4 games." Going out to LA is not going to be easy. Anytime you go to the West Coast, you've got the travel time there. That always affects a team if they from one coast go into the other coast. It's also going to be a problem because, as I said, Mario Hampton has gotten off to a great start as Los Angeles' rookie running back. Very much in the style of Bijan Robinson. He's a bruiser. He is in there to run between the tackles. Got to clean that up. Got to be better between the tackles than they were against Atlanta. Saw penetration at times, but too many missed tackles and too many big holes for Robinson to run through. Same thing with Hampton. You got to contain him. And again, Justin Herbert is one of those difference makers there at quarterback. He's got some good receivers. They have to shore up the defensive backfield as well. Now, I think they can do it, and I think they can come out of there with a win, but it ain't going to be easy. And again, they're in a spot now, 2-2. If they go and lose to LA, I don't think it's a huge problem because they're coming home for a Monday night game against the Bears, who could be cratering by then. But going out there and getting a win against the Chargers is definitely going to put a lot of pep back in their step. And again, with Jaden Daniels back in at quarterback, you have a transcendent player like that, you're capable of winning just about every game. So we shall see. All right, coming up tomorrow, we will take a look at the All-22, see what popped out at us. We'll have some things we liked, some things we didn't like, and we'll start getting you ready for next Sunday, or this Sunday rather, against the Chargers. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow. Like and subscribe, and remember, like the wise man once said, if you're out on your bike tonight, as always, do wear white.